Hello everybody, it's Jen. I'm back with another design team project for Not2Shabby, and I'm using one of the new release stamps called Unicorn Dreamland to make this clean and simple card. I'm going to go ahead and stamp out my images. Before I do that, I just use my embossing buddy there to get rid of any static or anything that might be on my card panel, which is Bristol Smooth cardstock. I'm going to be doing some heat embossing here after I get my stamping done, and for my stamping today I'm using my Versafine Clair ink, and this ink is fast becoming one of my favorite inks. I have since retired my old Versafine Onyx Black ink and prefer this one to that. So for those of you who have seen it in my videos and were asking, this is just the new formula that has come out, and it's definitely worth the purchase of a new ink pad. I had my Versafine Onyx Black ink forever. So I'm going ahead here with my heat embossing. I just used some clear embossing powder. I let my heat tool heat up, and then it only takes a minute to get the embossing to melt and become raised. I'm going to move on to my coloring. Today I'm going to be using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers. They have not had any love in a very long time, so I thought I would grab them out. For the unicorn, I just wanted her body to be white, so I did add in some light gray shadows and blended that out with my water brush. For our little star on top of the flower here, I thought I would do a pretty pink color. I'm not sure if this would be considered a fuchsia color, but I thought this would go well for a dreamy unicorn land. I'm going to add some of that same color to the unicorn's hair. I'm currently just going to do one layer for all of the colors, and then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to come in and do a second layer, and you'll see how much more vibrant the color becomes once you do that. So you can go ahead and add a lighter color with a darker color to get some shading. I tend to like to do one marker with one layer and then go over it a second time with the same marker, and I find you get a really gorgeous blend. So you see there I brought in some turquoise. Now I'm going ahead and adding some purple to our little unicorn's mane and her tail. Of course, I colored the stem and leaves of our little flower here in green, so I thought I would add that green into the unicorn as well, so it appeared in more than one place in the card. To finish off our unicorn, I'm using some yellow. I colored in the little star on her rear end, which is absolutely adorable. And then I had a couple little spots left on the mane of the unicorn, and instead of doing black for her hooves, I decided to do them in a light pink and added that light pink into her hair as well. So I'm just going to dry that a little bit, and I did let that sit and edited that part out. And now here's where I'm coming in with my second layer. You really don't need a lot for the second layer for it to blend out nicely, but you can see here the effect that that second layer gives. So I did speed this up quite a bit so that you didn't have to sit through the entire time that it took me to color this, but I did just want you to see the difference of being able to use one marker to get some really beautiful shading with the Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers. So I have the 60 marker pack, but you can definitely get away with a fewer number of markers in a pack if you just want to try them out. So almost complete with that second layer, just going to add the yellow and the pink back in. Once I get the coloring done, I'm going to heat set this just a little bit more to make sure that it's nice and dry, and I can move on to adding some chunky glitter to the little images here. So I'm using my Lawn Fawn glue tube pen, and I'll bring in my Lawn Fawn Chunky Glitter, which I recently took 2 classes with Jen Shirkus at a crop event at Crop and Create in Moncton, Canada. And she had the chunky glitter, and I am not usually a glitter person, but I absolutely fell in love with this glitter. They also have a fine glitter, which I have on order as well because, I don't know, she turned me into a glitter lover. So with the chunky glitter, you want to use a glue pen of some sort that has a little bit of a thicker nozzle. So you don't want to use like a glue fine tip pen. You want one that lets out a little bit more glue than, say, a pen like glue pen. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? I hope so. Anyways, so I'm just going to add, let's just move on. I'm going to add a couple layers here of the glitter, and you would think that this glitter gets everywhere, but it really doesn't. I just have a piece of computer paper here, and I'm going to put the rest of that back in the container. I'm going to use my craft pick here just to kind of push some of that glitter off of the black lines so you can still see all of the black lines. And I'm sure the camera doesn't allow you to see how beautiful this chunky glitter is. It's iridescent, it has a couple different colors in it, and the colors are very subtle, but it's so pretty and dreamlike, and I thought it was perfect for our little unicorn and our star flower. So I needed to add something a little bit more to this card, so I grabbed out my MFT black and white dots paper pad. All of the products will be linked below in case you're interested in checking out the products in more detail. So I wanted to add this to kind of the bottom 3/4 of the card. So I did cut it a bit longer, knowing that I was going to trim it up, but I wasn't quite sure how much I wanted on there, so I thought I'd be safe and sorry. Just cut some extra and then trim that up with my scissors. I thought that I was going to use a piece of black cardstock here. I cut this down to, I think it's about 3/4 of an inch, and that looked really cute. And I thought that I was going to use that, and then I decided that I was going to pull out some washi tape. I remembered that I had this really thin strip of black washi, and I thought that would be perfect in terms of a width for this card. And I really like the way that this washi tape looks much better than the cardstock I originally thought I was going to use. To ground my images, I'm just using the light gray again, and then I brought in a darker gray. I didn't want the ground and the shadowing to be the same color as the unicorn because I want these to look more like a darker shadow and not white like I colored her. So this is where I thought I was going to end the card, and I was going to put a sentiment on the inside. But I thought I would pull out some of my new Nouveau Dream drops in Fairy Wings. These are also super shiny and iridescent and beautiful. And I added some of that to the cheeks and the pink parts of my unicorn. And then I brought in this Hello Die by MFT and just some cardstock that I had in my stash, and I thought that this would add just a little bit something extra. Now, this was not in the plan. If it had been, I probably would have put my unicorn and starflower a little bit more to the left, or I would have left a bit more space between them so that I could nudge this sentiment into or between them. But I think the placement is okay for kind of an afterthought, and I do like that there's now a sentiment on the front of the card, and this would be fun to send to anyone. I feel like unicorns are so popular still. So once I trim off this little tail here, I'm going to show you the card, and we're done for today. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon. Bye!